Well, today we're going to be looking at the Babe Ruth of Japan. I'm going to be sharing with you my viewpoint on foreign rookie cards, and I'm going to share with you some insights about a test issue of a wrestling card of none other than Sting. I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on some current hobby news, all that and much, much more on this episode. You ready? Then let's do it. All right, friends, I am going to start here with my beloved Chicago Bears. What an amazing season we are having, my friends. Not but a week ago today, I witnessed one of the greatest football games I have ever watched in my entire life. And I would put it right next to the Super Bowl win in 1985, which I also saw in its entirety. But this game was right up there, my friends. The Chicago Bears were down 16-6 with just about 2 minutes left in the game when they made a smart decision as they ran it upfield to kick a field goal for 3 points, making it 16-9. Then they had all their hopes on an onside kick, which they accomplished. Green Bay ended up turning the ball over. Bears got the ball back on that onside kick and drove the ball in for a touchdown to tie the game with only seconds left in the game. They tied it. After losing the toss in overtime, they were able to stop Green Bay from scoring, and they came into the game on overtime with this 56-yard bomb. Look at this thing right over the shoulder of DJ Moore for the W. My friends, what a game. A lot of frustration in this game, too. I gave up on it about halfway through the fourth quarter. I says, these guys, they lost this game. And my goodness, what an amazing last 2 minutes this was. Let's go Bears. Next up, I want to share with you this post by Collect. It shows every winner from the inaugural Mantle Hobby Awards. If you guys follow the channel, you know that I'm a big supporter of the app called Mantle, which is it's a really cool app. I really like it. I want it to succeed. I want it to grow. There's just a lot of good stuff going on Mantle. If you are a collector type, this is an app for you. They slice up so many different genres of the hobby, and you're able to dig into certain groups that they have set up, and it's just a really good app. But here, Mantle ended up doing some hobby awards. It was all done democratically by vote. Congratulations to all the winners. And I just want to run through them here real quick. I know this is old news, but it's something that I want to cover and have a historical record of it on the channel. Here we have Best Non-Sports Card Product goes to Topps Chrome Disney 2024. Also, Best Sold Memorabilia, and that is the Shohei Ohtani 50-50 ball. Innovation of the Year goes to an app called Colex. I actually have not played around with this one. I need to follow up with this one. I don't know what this one even does, to be honest with you. Executive of the Year goes to Ken Golden. Best Hobby Shop goes to Burbank Sports Cards. Best Custom Card Artist goes to Tyson Beck, which I would love for there's some kind of association for custom card artists. I think they deserve it. The work that they do is phenomenal. I think they should be hired by these companies or be allowed permission to get more involved like Tyson Beck is here. I know he's done a lot of work for Topps, but I do know, Tan Man Baseball Fan, I bet he can compete with Tyson Beck. And I know there's several others that do some beautiful work out there. And I wish these guys would come together and create some kind of museum or some type of special set because of the work they do is phenomenal. Best Sports Card Product goes to 2024 Topps Chrome Update, probably because of the debut patches that came out in them. Best Auction House goes to Golden. That was a little surprising for me. Influencer of the Year goes to King of the Cards. And I'll leave my comments to myself on that one. But the Best Marketplace goes to eBay. I don't see any problem with that. I agree with that. Best Breaking Platform goes to Whatnot. That's a little surprising. I would think Fanatics Collect would be in there, but Whatnot ended up winning it. Best Live Stream Seller, Mama Breaks. See, now, I thought Mama Breaks was a breaker. And to me, that's two different avenues. A live stream seller and a breaker is, to me, two different positions. So I don't know what that's about there. Best media platform goes to Sports Card Investor. And best collectible show, The National. 100% agree with that. And grading company of the year goes to the beloved PSA. We're going to move right into Rookie Mania, and we're going to look at Munetaka Murakami. I hope I did not chop that up, and I won't even attempt to do that again, but this is the young man that is causing all the buzz in, at least in my region of the country, being near the Chicagoland region. This is the guy. This is our guy who is coming, who was signed through an international contract with the Chicago White Sox. And I started doing a little bit of research on him. And as I look at it here in Baseball Reference, he is going to be in February of 2026. He will be 26 years old. And we look at his stats down here. I highlighted the 5 most impressive years. He does have 8 seasons under his belt out in Japan. And we look at here, I like the number of home runs here, 36, 28, 39. 2022 was a fantastic year as he hit 56, followed by 31 and 33 for a grand total of 265 career home runs in 8 years of play. Strikeouts, he has 1,068 strikeouts and 678 walks with a 273 batting average and a 394 on base percentage. So really solid numbers. He reminds me a lot of, as far as number wise, he reminds me a lot of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I guess this kid is all the hype here. And I wanted to take a look at this article that Sports Collectors Daily released this week. And it's an article featuring, he wants to be called, according to this article, he says that we can call him Mooney. I don't know if it's Mune. I don't know if you pronounce that Moon or you pronounce that Mooney. I don't know, but let's just, we will call him Mooney, who will probably play first base for the Chicago White Sox, batted .270 and hit 246 home runs over 8 seasons with the Tokyo Swallows. After receiving the Central League Rookie of the Year award in 2019, he went on to win Central League MVPs. So pretty interesting there. He definitely has the numbers. I don't know if, he's up there in age, 26 coming into the MLB. We'll see. Great numbers in Japan. Will he be able to do the same with the pitching here in the States? Let's look at some cardboard of Mooney. You would see here this Topps Now that was released. It's an international signing, right? But I wanted to take a look at this one here as well. 2024 Stadium Club. NPB, not sure what that signifies. But it says here that a number of baseball cards from his time in Japan going back to 2018 that have been attracting the attention of U.S. collectors. And as we scroll down, we see some of his cards here from Japan, autographed cards. Gives us 2023 Topps World Baseball Classic, a nice foil refractor there. But my point is he's been featured in some U.S. American products already, but more as a prospect, as an international player. But the more popular card of him can be found in here. 2018 BBM first version would be considered his first card, right? His first true base card out of the Japan product. And here we see it here. We have a silver foil facsimile signature. We have here the typical base card, straight up base card, which would probably be more along the lines of what I would like. Somewhat affordable if you wanted to jump in on something like this here. It looks like there's also a gold facsimile signature. And that's the 2018 BBM first version is what's available of him as what would be considered, in my eyes, a foreign rookie card and a Japanese rookie card. And I like to draw a distinct line between the two. And I've given this so much thought over the years. And I just, I'm looking at historical text, historical trends within the hobby. And it's one of those things where I've even written it down here in one of my documents. And I classify these cards as like non-domestic issue. Okay. And non-domestic issue refers to any trading card or collectible that was manufactured, distributed, or primarily intended for sale outside of the United States. These releases fall outside the standard US domestic release ecosystem and were designed for international markets. Attributes for this category are divided into two primary subtypes, and I've divided them into export and foreign. So an export is basically a trading card, sticker, or collectible manufactured by a North American company, but intentionally produced for sale and distributed outside of the United States. These items originate from U.S. printers or publishers. They follow U.S. production standards and often use the same artwork, licensing, and checklist as domestic products, but their primary market is for another country. So in other words here, we see this all throughout our current databases. We see a lot of product that is produced by Upper Deck or produced by Topps, and Topps is really trying to reach out to the international market. So they will create cards of our players, of our product lines, under our agreements, and create their own sets and products for foreign countries. And that's what I consider more of an export. It's an exported product. Is we make it here and we export it there. Okay. But then we have a foreign market, and this refers to a trading card or sticker manufactured by a company located outside the United States and distributed within that company's own country or region. These products are created for local foreign audiences according to non-US standards, licensing agreements, player checklist, and distribution channels. So a foreign card, let's just use the BBM, for example. Where in the United States can we go and buy a pack of BBM? Or a hobby box of BBM? Where is it readily available to us? It's not. We have to go online and buy it from secondary markets or even overseas markets in order to get our hands on it. And there's a reason why that is. It's because those products are specifically designed for people in Japan, collectors in Japan. Yes, there is global interest, but the overall marketing scheme, the overall distribution method is designed for a specific region of the country. And so this is how come I draw lines of clarity and I draw lines of distinction between an exported product that we make here for the purposes of resale there and foreign product, because foreign product is not available to us. We don't know the checklist. We don't know their players. I know it's the flipping kind of or the investor type mentality that we've taken interest in the rookie cards of foreign players, but we don't know. All we're looking for is value and money and low print pop reports. But you can't tell me who won the Cy Young Award last year in Japan. You can't tell me who won the MVP. You can't tell me who Rookie of the Year was 2 years ago, because you don't know anything about the teams. I bet most of us don't even know how many teams there are in Japan unless we do extensive research online. Why? Because it's foreign to our market. And yes, there's outliers. Yes, there's collectors that know a lot about it. But the overall majority consensus, we do not know anything about that collectible market, myself included. I'll be the first one to jump in the boat. I don't know nothing about foreign product. Really don't. I know there's big interest in Ichiro. I know there's big interest in Shohei. And there's probably going to be a big interest in this guy here. But outside of that, and let me be clear about something, I do view exported rookie cards that we created here in order to sell there. I do consider those true rookie cards. Now, cards made by foreign companies in foreign markets that we have no access to, I do not consider those true rookie cards. And I give them a 3 out of 5 star status. And I do that only because they are not licensed. They are not under the Players Association. They are not under our market. It's not our players. It's not our teams. But I do recognize that there is a desire for those with certain collectors. Can I acknowledge a 2013 Shohei, the first card ever produced of him? Do I call it a Japanese rookie card, a foreign rookie card? Yes, I'm okay with that kind of distinction for me. And that's how I view it. Moving on, I'm going to be looking at rookie buzz. What is all the buzz about? Oh my goodness, so much buzz going on this year, and it has been one wild 2025. And by the looks of it, 2026 is going to be equally as wild as we transition. We are in a season of transition. The industry, the market, the way we collect, everything is shifting, and we have to, in my opinion, um, adapt, right, and pivot. And it's nothing's going to be the same after 2026, and we can probably include 2025 into that. So with this, with Fanatics taking over the licensing, with big companies like Panini being pushed out of the way, and everything going on this year, it is definitely a different hobby. But let's look at some current hobby buzz as going on with. I noticed with this on this post that I found on X, and it is by Cal Vernson Cards, and he writes, "For full transparency, I am sharing the email reply I received from at Tops about Filth Bomb receiving so many debut patches. While I appreciate their response, it boils down to breakers open a lot of product, which ignores the mathematical improbability of what we witnessed." All right. Pretty powerful response there, but it pretty much wraps it up as Kel here mentioned. It boils down to breakers open a lot of product. Now, with that, we get into the tinfoil hat brigade, as if I use the term that Neil has given it, and we see a wide variety of trolling, a wide variety of wild accusations. And here we get a comment by Jeff Wilson. "Everything in life is mathematically improbable when looked at in retrospect. Tops is correct with their response." So you can only imagine the backlash that got. I'm not even going to go there into that rabbit hole. But as we continue here, I do want to bring attention to some pretty solid responses here. The really bad golfer says maybe it isn't Tops that stacks the deck. Maybe Bill, who works in packaging, has a deal with Bob, who works in shipping, and they both work with Filth Bomb to funnel hot cases to them. Maybe it's 5 guys working as a team getting paid $10K each. That's an alternate theory, an interesting theory. But to be honest with you, it's not really out of the question. I think a lot of times this really could be the case in this situation, and even with PSA, it could be not so much PSA or Fanatics are doing dirty deeds, but maybe the people in the rank and file, the people who help distribute this thing, the logistics of everything behind the scene. Maybe there's some corrupt behavior coming from within. That's a possibility. JL says here, "There are also boxes that we as regular people will never be able to obtain because we aren't breakers, own a shop, etc. I wish it wasn't like this, but this is how it will always be." And Charlie here makes a really interesting comment. He says, "Interesting that while they continue to open a lot, there hasn't been any patches pulled lately, which leads me to believe this is Topps marketing. Get some right out of the gate so there's plenty of FOMO, ride the high for a bit and call it good. Shocking they didn't hold on to some of the bigger ones longer." That's interesting. Again, it's the tinfoil hat brigade. Remember, refuse to capitulate. Okay, let's read what he writes. "True transparency would be full disclosure on how rare cards are randomly inserted into packs. Are they shuffled with 1 million base cards? That would be incredible content and positive exposure to the hobby." Yeah, man, I know the hobby's been screaming for full transparency on pack odds, and they do not seem to. I don't know why. I mean, they used to all the time. That was, to me, if we're going to do regulation, that's a part of regulation that I believe should exist. There should be full transparency of pack odds, like it used to be, and not this half-cooked stuff that we get today. MVP Hobby says 3 patches in the first 5 boxes, crazy odds. And Sean here states, "Then why are there specific Breakers Delights loaded for these leeches? Those cards should be in regular packs for the average collector." Sean, I can't agree with you more. I really have a disdain for many, many years with first off the line product with this Breakers Delight nonsense. I just don't understand why those types of shenanigans are allowed. And a lot of the really big case hits and a lot of that big stuff really goes out to these breakers and really does this first off the line product. I don't care for it. It just, to me, it just feels wrong. And so that is, and I'll give even my own little tinfoil hat brigade. I'll jump in there. Who's to say that an unruly, I'm not even going to say it's filth bomb. I'm just going to say that a corrupt breaker, let's just say they're allocated 15 cases. Who's to say that they don't have access to a scanning machine and they scan through those cases and they're able to pluck out 4 boxes or 5 boxes, however many it was, and they're able to actually pluck out those 3 debut patches, because the odds of pulling debut patches in 3 out of 5 boxes or 3 out of 4 boxes is just, that's really hard to believe. That's just, I cannot believe that was an error on the printing company side of things. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm just, again, I got the tinfoil hat on, right? And so it is possible that there's an internal scam going on. I don't know. It could be as simple as a mistake, man, but there's some awful lot of mistakes going on. And then when you factor in this story, and then not but a day or two later, we run into this story, which it is the story by the Hobby Box UK. He ended up making a detailed live stream on how he feels that Fanatics is sending certain boxes to certain breakers, and then other breakers are getting shortchanged. And there's a big uproar. I wanted to show you the video that he released, but it seems like he took it down. I saw it on Instagram. I looked for it on Instagram and his Twitter account, but that video has since dropped, and I'll tell you why here in just a minute. Sports Card Radio got a hold of this story, and they've ran with it. And so, according to the Hobby Box UK, he spent money to acquire video footage from the London card show that allegedly captures this conversation on camera. I guess there was some admittance to this type of stuff being given to certain breakers, and it's done on purpose. Even more damning, the breaker who pulled the Ronaldo card allegedly later confirmed to People that, yes, the Fanatics employee gave him the box containing the 1 of 1. But yeah, instead of addressing these allegations, Fanatics has threatened legal action against Hobby Box UK. And this is how come Hobby Box UK has taken down all the evidence that he exposed to us this past week. But interesting that Fanatics, instead of giving an explanation or some form of rebuttal, they reacted with a lawsuit. And to me, that's just, I don't know, that just doesn't sit right with me. Rather than issuing a detailed public rebuttal, they respond with a legal letter telling Hobby Box UK to stop communicating with their employees and stop accusing them and stop harassing them. And instead of showing some transparency, some humility, and maybe giving an explanation or maybe an apology, and that's the way they decided to address it. So this is, I'm sure this is still on the radar for a lot of reasons. And I'm not throwing shade at Fanatics, you guys. I really, I don't want any legal problems myself, but I will say this. I do think it's important. I heard Dan, the card man, speak about it, and he's basically saying that content creators, we need to be vocal about this type of stuff and really put pressure, because they're starting to feel the pressure, and we need to keep applying pressure. And what his concern was is that it's this week's headline, and then it kind of fades away into oblivion and nothing ever happens. And he's saying, no, content creators, we need to be responsible with the hobby. We need to press in, and we need to make a big deal about this. And I tend to agree, and that's just how come I'm talking about it in this segment of this episode, because this type of stuff is important. They have to be held to a higher standard and stop all these shenanigans. If it's and I believe it could possibly be corruption from within the ranks, and if that's the case, they need to investigate and get rid of these bad actors. And I know they're probably having a hard time finding honest people, and so, but they're going to have to try. They're going to have to try harder to make things more fair. And that's what all of this, guys. This is what all of this boils down to, in my opinion. Is that why is this a big deal? Stuff like this, because it goes against the face of fair and equal chance. And collectors, we should have a fair and equal chance at owning said card. It shouldn't be given to these special people, or because there's a camera over here and there's a celebrity over here, we're going to load up this one box, and for marketing's sake, we're going to have them open this up and pull this amazing one of one, and all of these shenanigans and gimmicks that go along with it. And no, we should all of them pack odds there should be full transparency. Every collector should have a fair and equal chance, and we shouldn't be loading boxes for breakers. And because what does that do it ruins our chance at owning said card. And when you're charging the amount of money that you're charging for your product, it's not fair. And that's the bottom line in all of this. Moving on, let's look at rookie misconceptions. I have one that I'd like to bring up this week, and that is this one: 1987 NWA Supercards. Rookie card of Sting. David Peck here says, need to get this Sting rookie card signed. Well, here's the thing that I typically feel with test cards. And I've been doing a lot of studying on test cards here recently. And it's one of them things where I just don't buy into the test market cards because they're basically an experiment done by card manufacturers. Okay. And I know I was studying the 1968 Topps test, the basketball card version. And it's one of those things where when I was studying that, I realized that the set is one of, it's rare. And when I was researching this, I learned that Topps, after 1957, they didn't create any more basketball product. And they came back in 1968 and they wanted to see if there was a market out there for basketball. So what they did was they released this 1968 Topps test, and they threw it out there as an experiment to see if there was a market for basketball. And so it's one of those things where they printed an extremely low amount. I think the set is only like 22 cards were issued in the set, and it was never distributed nationally. Instead, it was released in very small quantities in parts of only. And so most reports, that's what the reports show us, that in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania was the only region that these cards were available. And they were very small quantities when you look at pop reports. And it was basically likely just to gauge interest for a possible full release. And so that's what makes these cards extremely rare. They were never distributed as an official set. They were just more of experiment cards. This is how come I really have I don't want to say I don't like test cards. Because they're unique, and I like the rarity of them. They're unique, but I don't view them as true rookie cards. I know some people might consider this the first card, and I'm okay with that. I think that designation makes more sense. This is the first card of Sting. But in 1988, NWA Supercards came out because they ran this test on the market, and they saw that there was interest in the market. So in 1988, they released this exact same card of Sting. And I think the test run has like a cardboard back, cardboard colored, brown colored, and the 1988 has like a white cardboard in the back. I think that's the only distinguishing difference between the two. But the 1988, in any checklist database that you look at, the 1988 is given the rookie card designation as the first true rookie card of Sting. And the 1987 is a test market run, which I would consider a first card, something that does not fall into full compliance of the rookie card standards of that era. Because I feel like what we're always doing, it's always rarity, dollar value, and pop reports seem to determine what actually is a rookie card for some folks. And I completely, wholeheartedly disagree with that way of thinking. But at the same time, I get it. I understand it. If I put myself in their shoes, it's just the mentality of everything has to be about money. Money is the main priority of things. Rarity is the main priority of things. And it shouldn't be. It should be the secondary, not the primary. And so, yeah, that's kind of like my little spiel on test issues. Are they unique? Absolutely. Are they rare? Absolutely. Are they desired? Absolutely. But is there a fair and equal chance at owning this card? No, only a certain few people had it. I believe for this, it was in the southeastern part of the U.S. So places like the Carolinas, Georgia, and a part of Florida. Not all of Florida, but only a portion of Florida is where this card was actually a test run was given only to those markets. Everybody else didn't even know they existed, and so kind of a cool story behind that. I would love to own it. My wife is we grew up watching wrestling. My wife and I, she loves Sting to death. But let's call it what it is, not what we want it to be. Moving on. We are looking at rookie flashback. I haven't done this segment in a while, but I do want to bring attention to a post by Junk Wax Heroes. He basically quoted this one and just said, 1986 Donruss, the rookies. I know I spoke a little bit about Donruss, the rookies, not all that long ago when I was talking about Barry Bonds rookie cards. But here we see like a little sales sheet or a little promo thing here for Donruss, the rookies. And there's some interesting things in here that I'd like to bring to everybody's attention. But this is what they look like. They're these small ancillary sets that were kind of all over the place in the 80s. They were just making stuff up, throwing stuff out there. And actually, if you look at a picture down here we see a nice picture of just all the different types of traded sets and Fleer update sets and all of these ancillary little sets that were made by Fleer and Donruss. And there was just slews of these cards all over the place. They would never, ever have these sets been regarded as true rookie cards. They're more like little ancillary supplemental sets, right? And that they just complemented the card offering for that year. Well, here we see some interesting things here. Availability. Let's start there. The rookies availability will be limited. Well, I can guarantee you they printed these things into the millions. So I don't know what they meant by limited. But there will be only one printing and orders will be accepted subject to availability. Current plans call for shipment in the late August, early September. A lot of this stuff, even the traded and the update sets, they came out kind of end of the year type of stuff. Hobby pack, 56 cards. This is how many cards were in this. 56 cards, nothing random. It was the same 56 cards in every box. A price $3.90 per set or $234 per case. There's a 2-case minimum order quantity and a 50-case maximum order quantity. Ordering, please use the attached order form. Advance payment should accompany your order. Tax identification number must be included. So here we see kind of their directions, and this is how come. And I wrote about these types of sets and updated sets and traded sets in my book after a long conversation that I had with Dr. Beckett on these specific types of sets and why they gave them XRC identifiers instead of RC identifiers. And you can read the details of that entire story in my book. It's a really interesting, all the insight that he gave us, but it kind of verifies what Dr. Beckett was telling me here when I read this, is that it was the game of trying to be the first to release a current player's rookies. And what they would do is they would force these dealers to buy 2 cases, and they had to, if they wanted to get allocation on another product, they would force them to, but you got to buy 2 cases of this stuff. And so the dealers wanted these cards to be considered rookie cards, but these types of sets, the traded, the update, and all these little ancillary supplemental, at the time, collectors did not, they rejected them. They wanted the randomness of packs. And it was the hobby that it was collectors that rejected this. It was the standard of the day. And with that standard stayed for decades. I mean, these little ancillary sets had little to no value or little to no interest, little to no desirability. You can find them everywhere. I mean, they were just everywhere. And so they were, one of those things where now all of a sudden, because we are tired of looking at the regular true rookie cards, right? Because you can find those every day because we're enamored with pop reports. We reject the true rookie cards. And now what we want is this type of stuff. And so we're looking for an angle. We're looking for something different. We're looking to make a diamond out of a piece of coal. And so we're always looking for angles and gimmicks and in order to hype something up as no, this is better than this type of concept. And this is how come um, because I lived through this era, because I studied this product and the trend and the movement that was behind all of this stuff. And then when I see what the narrative has spun into, it just it's comical. It really is. It's comical and it's upsetting to see at times. And this is how come I do the work that I do to preserve historical context and to bring lines of clarity so that we can truly see what is what. Moving on, I do want to go into hobby news. There's a lot of hobby news that is probably going to seem old, but it's stuff that I want to document my take on certain things. And I haven't had an opportunity to do that. I did have a chance to be on Hobby Hotline with John Newman and Dr. Beckett a week ago. And so I did talk a little bit on there, but I don't know if all you guys caught that. I'll leave a link to that episode down below, but I would like to give a little bit of insight into certain things. This one I found very interesting. I got an email from Ty Wilson in his. I signed up for his newsletter, and he has started his own marketplace. And I found this really, really interesting. I signed up for it so that I can log in and purchase and that sort of thing. There is an option if you want to sell. I'm not going to join the seller community just yet, but I started playing around with it. I will say, and I'll give Ty a little bit of feedback here when I get a chance. I did try to buy a couple of cards that I found very interesting and at a really good price. But the form of payment, I forget what the form of payment was, but I had the wrong card in that payment method. And I went to go try to change or add an additional card. And it's like it wouldn't let me. The connection wasn't there, and I couldn't add an additional card to that account. So I don't know if it's that something on Chasing Cardboards in, or maybe I need to go to that app and add a card there first before I do it on here. But it gave me the option to add a card, and when I tried to add the card, it wouldn't take. So after 2 or 3 failed attempts, I just got out of it and canceled my transaction. But I like supporting people that I like, people, entrepreneurs. I do like supporting people that I believe in. I love the work that Ty does. I think he's an outstanding person, ambassador of the hobby. I know he gets a lot of slack because some people say that he doesn't know a lot about cards, but I can tell you that he's deep in the trenches and he's learning every day. Um, so I think that criticism might have been fair 6 or 7 years ago. I don't think it's fair to say that now when you're in the trenches as much as he is for as long as he has been. Um, you don't just you don't stay there and not know. He knows, and I see his growth in card knowledge quite a bit. Does he know everything? No, but who does? Has he come a long way? Absolutely, and love his content. And I will try again to. I wouldn't mind, buying a few cards here and there to support his marketplace. I do like it seems like a lot of people are trying to just get away from the fees of selling and just creating their own marketplace. I think that's brilliant. I think a lot more people ought to do that. And I found this really, really interesting. With that said, I wanted to share a little bit about what PSA had done with the buying back cards in a 9, and then the guy saw them again in a 10, and that whole chaotic situation. Well, there's a video that I found that really, he really took the time to explain it. But I want you to pay attention to the end because the end kind of just sums it all up for me. Watch this. Check this out. This is cool.
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, what's up, man? What's all this hubbub about PSA and this scandal recently? Which one? yeah, I guess they do have some problems lately. It's funny because it's true. The short version of it is that somebody submitted some Pokemon cards to PSA. PSA sent them back as PSA 9s and offered to buy them at the PSA 9 value. The person who submitted the cards took the offer and figured they'd wash their hands of it. Well, it doesn't seem that bad. That's not where it ends. Oh. The person who had sold these cards back to PSA a few days later ended up by looking online and noticing that the cards, the same cards that he had submitted with PSA with the same certification numbers, were now up for sale from PSA, but they were now PSA 10s. I'm a new person in the hobby. Can you kind of explain this in a more like everyday term? I don't know how new you are anymore. We've been talking for well over a year. I said I'm new. Okay, fine. It'd be like if you took your car into an auto body shop, wanted to get it fixed because you wanted to sell it, right? And the auto body shop, when you had to come pick it up, was like, we can only fix like some of this stuff, but we'll buy it off you for maybe half the price of what the actual value would be if we fixed everything on the car. You wanted to wash your hands with it, so you're like, I'll take the money and go on. And then at little or no cost to the auto body shop, they ended up actually fixing everything up in the very end and sold it for full price. I'd be pissed. Yeah, most anybody would. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Well, I got to go. Where are you going? I got to submit some cards to PSA. Sounds about right.
All right. There at the end, it just really summarized this entire situation. Yes, I like the way they explained it here, made things very simple. He kind of just did it all in 30 seconds. But at the end, it was just like, so what does all this mean? I guess nothing, because people are still going to submit their cards to PSA. And so, and if I have to be honest, I'm still going to be submitting my card. This changes nothing for me personally. I'll still be submitting to PSA myself. And then not but a couple of days after this happened, we had this where I don't know if a Christmas present from Nat Turner to the hobby, and that was the purchase of Beckett Publications. And that caused quite the uproar, as you well know. And if you didn't, collectors ended up buying a Beckett. So now collectors owns PSA, SGC, and Beckett. A lot of the early reports were that PSA bought Beckett. No, PSA did not buy Beckett. Collectors bought Beckett. And so if you got to point the finger at anybody, it's towards collectors, right? But here then, a couple of days after that news dropped, the story even gets better yet. And that is this Congressman Patrick Ryan calls for the Federal Trade Commission to investigate Beckett's sale to PSA. Again, a wrong title here. They didn't sell it to PSA. They sold it to collectors. But potato, right? We're getting into semantics, but I think so much hatred is thrown at PSA about this. PSA did not buy Beckett. Collectors did. Collectors is the parent. PSA, SGC, and now Beckett are the children. And so it's one of those things where I believe, and this is where I had a chance to talk on Hobby Hotline. I just believe that this is a really big nothing burger here, this investigation. I think the federal government has much more important things that they need to be addressing. I think this will be buried in litigation if it does go through. And Patrick Ryan did not say he was going to investigate. PSA was not served with any legal work or legal paperwork. It was more of him writing a letter to the Federal Trade Commission that they should investigate this purchase. And it's not that it's in stone. It's just a letter of recommendation. And so as Dr. Beckett mentioned on Hobby Hotline, it's going to land on a desk. It's probably going to get looked at some point, and Federal Trade Commission officer will make a determination. I feel there's a big nothing burger here. It's more for, there is an election in 10 months. This congressman that wrote this letter is going to be going up for re-election. And this was an amazing marketing scheme in order to gain votes that Patrick Ryan went against the big bad PSA werewolf, right? And so I think that's what's at the heart of this Federal Trade Commission investigation. I think it's a big nothing burger. It's a lot of hot air, in my opinion. And when you think about things logically, it isn't a monopoly. Monopolies, as Chris Harris was discussing on Hobby Hotline, who worked for the Federal Trade Commission for about 12 years, he was basically saying that it's not illegal to have a monopoly. It's what you do with that monopoly that can get you in trouble. And so, and I'm of the opinion, are they really a monopoly though? You still have CGC, you still have TAG, you still have KSA. There's a multitude of smaller grading companies out there. CGC also coming up very strong, and you're probably going to see an uptick on their stuff, on their numbers. And how is that a monopoly when there's so many other options are out there? I just I don't understand what exactly. Now Chris was saying they got to be careful with jacking up prices and that sort of thing, because that can come off, if you like pigeonhole people, that can come off as a monopoly. but I don't think they're there yet. And so really, really interesting conversation that we had on Hobby Hotline. Again, I'm going to leave you the, as a matter of fact, I'm going to leave you the link to it. That's going to be the video on the left-hand side. It's going to be the episode of Hobby Hotline where Dr. Beckett, Chris Harris, John Newman, and myself sit down and have a chat about this sale, as Nat Turner ended up visiting Dr. Beckett shortly after this purchase. So you can check that out there. And on the right-hand side, I'm going to leave you my latest video on the true rookie cards of Tim Duncan. With all that said, listen, guys, I know I went a little long here. I appreciate you sticking with me. This is what happens when I skip a week. But remember, my friends, that all of this, the purpose of this channel, the purpose behind what I do is to bring clarity and to remind you, my friends, that not all rookie cards are created equal.